Hey everybody, looks like we are live. I hope everyone is having a great week. It's wonderful to see everybody. It's another Wednesday. We did it. We made it. And we are going into, I think, the next to last week of October, right? Let me look at my calendar here. So, yes, so one more week, one more live stream in October. So that's pretty wild. So let's see who we have today here. It'll be really cool. Let's see. So I'll go from the beginning. Patty from Illinois, how's it going? Great to see you. How are you today? We have Colette from the Atlanta area. Wonderful to see you. And we have Brad all the way from Manitoba, Canada. How's it going, Brad? And we have Dan from Indianapolis. Great to see you. And we have Mr. Dave. How's it going, Dave? All the way from Texas. Great to see you, sir. And we have Mr. Dwayne Marshall, San Luis de Obispo. Go Mustangs, not banana slugs. Great to see you. So what a great group we have here. Mr. Roy from New Jersey. How are you, sir? Roy is a fellow Jersey person, and we're holding it down here in Jersey. And let's see here. That's my oil palette. So I do oils during the day and airbrush in the evening. So there I am. Okay, so today we are going to do some paintbrush techniques. We're going to be working on the white mixture to kind of adjust some of the saturation, desaturate things. And we are also going to learn about value compression. What is it? Why do you need to know what it is? And why do you need to use that in your paintings? So value compression is something very important, and it is a very important element of the 19th century French academic painters. So that is really good. And let's see. Okay, and so we have a great group, and I have my wet palette here, so that's good. And let's see if we could get everything situated here. So how's everybody doing? Everyone getting good night's sleep, I hope, you know? So now the first thing I want to do is I kind of want to come in with some paintbrush techniques. I don't know, what do you think? So I'm going to get my image of my beautiful angel here. And let's see, where is she? I use Pure Ref. Please use Pure Ref if you're going to be working from life. It's just amazing, you know? It really is. Mr. Steve Leahy, all the way from Ohio. How's it going, sir? Hope you're having a great week. Loving all the artwork you're doing over there. That's really cool. So what a really cool. So Mr. Gregory is in front of the Harley dealership. Oh, is that on Facebook? Is that that's your Facebook meme, I think, right, sir? So that's cool. All right. So let me see. Do I go ahead and do the paintbrush techniques first? I think we can, and then go from there. So let me get my amazing ultimate set of paintbrushes, which I got for $4.99 at Hobby Lobby. Mr. Gary Shees, all the way from Hershey, Pennsylvania area. Great to see you, my friend. How are you? So I have my agua, which is very important for the paintbrush techniques. We'll put that there. And then I have these two paintbrushes, which are really good, but I have a whole set. I don't know where I put them. Let's see. Almost there. Let's see. They're probably down here. a couple over here. Always got a few stragglers here and there, so that's good. Mark Dietz, all the way from Calgary, how are you? Love my Canadian friends up there. How's everything? Go Flames. Calgary Flames. This brush is going to be a texture brush. Once they get weird like that, it becomes a texture brush. Okay, so I have these two. I can probably live with this. And I have my napkin. All right, let's go to town, guys. So I'm so glad you're here, Mr. Mark. And oh, there we see JC. How's it going? You know, it's a funny story about this. When I was in 8th grade, I told the kid that if he drank the watercolor water, I would give him $1. I gave him $1, but he spit it out, so I gave him a pass. That was a funny story. That was hilarious. So right now I think I'm going to work in Wicked paints. And so this is a Wicked kind of painting session, I would say. And I do have raw sienna. That's probably the color of choice for her eyes. So this is yellow ochre, which is pretty close, but I'm set on raw sienna. Or I can just use my preset here, right here, and I'll just see exactly what colors I need to mix. But I think I can get the gist of this. Let's see. Just put a little dot here. Oh, I almost made a big mistake. I got to put the paper on there. Holy cow. That would have been bad. Now I did see that paper here a moment ago. I just got to locate it. There we go. So the wet palette is great. It has its issues, you know, with the whole thing with, you know, the kind of mold that gets in there. So I've been kind of cleaning it with antibacterial soap. But it's great because it does keep your colors wet for the whole painting session. Let me see if it's wet enough. Now, if it's not wet enough, I could always add some water, right? Which I'll probably do, but first we'll see if we can get away with just with the moisture that's there. But I think we're going to have to just kind of put some more moisture down. This should be good. So these things are around $20 for the mini. And I think it's like $35, $40 for the larger, more deluxe one. I know Steve Leahy has the large deluxe one. Okay, there we go. Try and get rid of as many air bubbles as possible. I could get a business card. Let's get the business card here. And kind of squeegee it. That should be sufficient. And I'll draw this out. Okay. Now, so here we go. We have raw sienna. So we do have raw sienna. And we have my glasses. And let's see. And we'll put this over here. And so this is Raw Sienna by Wicked, Detail Raw Sienna. And her eyes are a little bit darker, you know, a little bit darker. So I'm going to look at Raw Umber. We have Detail Raw Umber. And that is 0068. And it's quite interesting that this one is really dark, and this one has a greenish shade. So it might just be, that's interesting though, isn't it? Okay, let's just put a little bit here. There we go. And we'll take this here and we'll kind of mix this here. And I want to get this kind of mustardy color of her irises, and we'll do that together. Let's see, we'll zoom in. The magic of DSLRs. What a great group we have today. Thank you everyone for hanging out on this Wednesday. I know you can do 100 things, but you decide to hang out with me, and that means the world. And we're just going to kind of put the local color of these irises. And this way I can come in and start working on different areas like the dark around the irises, which is great. As you can see, it is a nice kind of mustardy color, almost right out of the tube actually of the raw sienna, the wicked raw sienna, which is cool. So we've been having a bit of an Indian summer here in New Jersey, New York City area. It's been 85 almost every day. Pretty crazy. I'm gonna do a couple of layers because it is not an opaque. So, but with transparency, as you know, when you go over it several times, it becomes more and more opaque and darker. Opacity is just the ability to have, you know, whatever's underneath show through. That's simple. And you know, that's transparency is you can see through it, and if you can't see through it, it's opaque. That easy. It's not difficult, you know, to decipher which is which. And an opaque color be a transparent color, and vice versa. If it covers what you're doing, then it is an opaque color for all intents and purposes. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to work on the white of her eyes. And I think I'm going to look at them, and so I need a nice warm gray. It's a very light color though, but I don't want to go too dark. I can always darken it up, right? So I'm just going to put this here, nice gray. That looks good. And let's see how it goes. I'm going to put a tiny bit of this raw sienna color. Now that's the sclera, the white of the eyes, right? Let's see how this goes. So we're going to start with the eye on camera left. And we're just going to begin. And I'm going to dry brush it, right? Get rid of the excess moisture, right? It's so important to get rid of the excess moisture. And also what I want you to see is when we are painting eyes, and you just want to make sure that you pay attention to how the iris actually, does it clear the lower eyelid, or does the lower eyelid cover it? That is like really important. If you get that wrong, I don't care what you do the rest. It's just not going to get the likeness, no matter what you do. Isn't that comforting? So make sure that you get the clearance of this here, right? So I'm going to go a little bit darker on the other side. So I'm going to get a darker gray. Let's see. This looks like a nice dark gray here. I am mixing some of the illustration line with that, with the Wicked. Okay. Now I'm not using any medium at all here. I'm just going straight in. And I even want to go a little bit darker. So I'm going to get a darker gray right next to this. We'll see how it goes. Worst happens, it dries, right? And so how's everything, JC, over there in the Atlanta area? It's always great to see you. I'm missing a lot of people coming in. I do apologize. Hey, Mr. Astral from the UK, how's it going? And let's see what else we have. Who else? Hey, Adrian, great to see you, my friend. How are you today? So glad to see you. Adrian, where are you from? I believe for some reason you're from Australia. Did I get that wrong? Probably did. Michael McClung, how's it going? Great to see you. And so that's so cool. And JC, are you working hard? I know you're always working hard there. And let's see. JC says he missed a poll. Oh, I didn't do a poll yet, but hopefully soon. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Wow, I got it right, Adrian. See that? You're unforgettable, sir. That's so cool. And I'm so glad my friend Astral's doing great over in the UK. That's great to hear. That makes me happy. And it can be too wet, so you have to make sure that we do the whole dry brush thing. Now you're seeing a lot of glare from the eye, you know, from the camera and the light. But what we want to do is make sure we get the negative shape, which is the white of the eye, also known as the sclera. And I want you to notice that the white of the eye clears the lower eyelid. There we go. And now we'll move on over. Oh, that's a little rough there. Let's see. Kind of bring it more on a oblique angle there. Okay. And oh, read the previous messages. Let's see. What did I miss? Let's see. Someone said Thursdays. Wish I was on Thursdays as well. Let's see. That's right. Sienna before it goes raw. And let's see. You're going to have to remind me, sir. There's a lot of messages. That's a good thing. So I have a lot of messages today, so that's cool. So you guys are really engaging, and I appreciate that so much. I am going to start working on just one eye. I know I usually do both eyes at a time, but I like to live dangerously sometimes, like Austin Powers. I'm going to do the dark of her eye here. Now this stuff dries so fast, right, on the surface. So I'm just going to let it dry. Hey, Mr. Gary, thanks for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, sir. And always thank you for hanging out on a Wednesday and your support. It means the world to me, my friend. And it's always great to see you, Gary, from Pennsylvania. We're not that far, neighboring state, but they're big states, so we're a little far from each other. So it's good to see you. And thank you so much for the support and, you know, keeping the channel going, Gary. It means everything. Thank you, sir. And let's see. Oh, and Miss Patty says, don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate it. So, quick question for you all out there. What do you think of I'm going to be doing Saturday recorded videos. So, this Saturday is going to be part 2 of Emma Watson. And I painted that picture a long time ago, but I'm just getting around to actually, I already filmed it, and now I'm using the content for a really good how-to series. And let me know if you like them. And I'm see that I can't get away. I want to. I always want to work on the other eye. That's my problem. And so right here it's a little bit darker. Kind of bring this in. Michael says, Gary, did you get my message on Steve's feed? Okay. Gary says he tries to do his best to support all of his artist friends. I appreciate that so much. And you do that, sir. So thank you. Thank you so much. And Mark says, Tim, I asked if you are the best portrait artist on YouTube. Poll says unanimously you are. Thank you, my friend. I'm humbled. I appreciate that. I love doing portraits. That's been my thing since I was a kid. So thank you, everybody, for saying that. People have always interested me the most. Women, mostly. Even when I was younger, I used to paint the female superheroes. I used to like, Red Sonja and Ms. Marvel, Wonder Woman, and so since then that's all I really wanted to paint, kind of a one-trick pony, sort of thing. But we have to do what we know, right? So here's something I want to share with everyone. That old saying, paint what you know, I think is really important. So when you're painting and you're looking for ideas, make sure you do something that you know very well. Like, let's say a lot of people are into doing Marvel and stuff like that. That's cool. And just paint, a Marvel character that you know well, that you relate to, that sort of thing. Or even a movie character. I know Michael does some really good movie characters, and Steve does, the really great automotive stuff and the cars that really mean a lot to him in his childhood. His first car, he talks about that, and he incorporates that into his artwork, which is really fantastic. So always important to paint what you know, right? And let's see. And I'm going to go all out with this one. And Dave says, if it pays the bills. And let's see what Dave says. Nice, Gary. And let's see what else. Dave says, yeah, you fooled me this past weekend. Oh, that's right, Mr. Dave, with the... A lot of people thought it was a live stream because, I very rarely do a recorded video, right, Dave? And I think Mike McGlung was like, I didn't know you were live, so a lot of people were saying that too. It's hard when you break character like that, right? Astral says, paints a lot of buildings. No thanks. I'll leave that to Steve Leahy. Too many windows. And, Dave says, do what you know if it pays the bills. Yes, I agree with that to a certain extent. I like the whole thing. And, that's a wise thing to say, Mr. Gregory. And I agree. You gotta light the pipe, and, but do the stuff but always keep the stuff that you love, right? Always make sure you keep that going. I think that's so important, because that's the stuff in the long run that's going to make the big difference in the world, It really is. But I am a starry-eyed dreamer. I always have been. Not the most practical of people in the world. So I'm probably not the best person to take advice from financially. Gary says, Michael, No, I didn't get any message. Okay, cool. So, uh, oh, a Kyle pick for the 543. That's wonderful. Oh, that's very nice. Okay, so what I can do is just continue working with this, and I'm going to work on one eye and see how this goes. Kind of just changing my MO a little bit. Now right here we have a dark right here in the corner of her eye. Even though the photo has it where it's, you know, very much the same brown, but I want to add some life to it, so I'm going to come in with some red right here. And we're going to make the corner of her eye a little more fleshy, right? That would be amazing. Definitely, Gary, I agree. No pressure, Mr. Leahy. Let's see. And we'll kind of bring this red into here. And work on, and it's important to get, you know, neutralize that red with this raw umber. Raw umber is a really great color. I use it a lot when it comes to oils, and I use it a lot when it comes to airbrushing as well. And it's too wet, so I'm just going to hope that it kind of dries on the surface. I'll just lift it up. That did not work out well, so I'm going to make sure that I dry brush this a little bit more. There we go. We're going to bring this down. And then we're going to darken this area. And that's going to come in a little bit. We'll darken that. And you know what? You have to slow things down, right? It's so important to slow things down. I really feel that way. So you kind of have to slow things down to speed things up, right? Let's see. We'll zoom back. And you can see how her eye is becoming more developed. And you know what? I think, even though part of me is saying, you know, just develop one eye, I really can't. I got to work on the other eye as well. That's so important. And Mr. Dave says, Mr. Mummery is actively converting, trying to convert Dave from his current system, brother scan and cut. Your argument is persuasive. Yes, that is true. And let me go ahead and clean off this, and so we can come in with our raw sienna. We're going to work on eyeball number 2, just to get that ball rolling, and then we'll just kind of concentrate on her eyes for a while. And now the sclera, or the white of the eyes on the light side, is quite lighter. And let's see, move this over here. This way. Okay. And, oh, Patty, have a great night. Great to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Now, and I know the Cameo 4, which is really fantastic, that actually has come down in price significantly. So you can get one for a song. And they have the Cameo 5, which is really good. And then the Cameo Pro. I think the Cameo 5 is 18 inches wide. Cameo Pro is 24. I'm pretty sure. And this also clears the lower eyelid there, which is important. Okay, we'll wipe that clean. You let things dry when you're working in acrylics, I mean, because it dries so quickly anyway. And now we have the sclera, the white of the eye. And as I mentioned, the white of the eye on the light side is much lighter. And I will come back with the, I definitely will come back with the airbrush to soften things up, but to start it up is always an advantage, starting it up with the paintbrush. That's if you're well versed with the paintbrush, which is important. Oh, and Dave says he's a bad singer. Oh, that's right, because it's a song, that's for sure. No, I was issued a no singing ordinance from my local municipality, so that's how bad I am. And we'll just bring this down. There we go. And believe it or not, we're already probably dry already with her eye already. So let's see if we could pull some of this in here. Now remember, the eye is an ellipse, and you see how the far eye is not a pure circle because it's a circle in perspective, and that's called an ellipse. So that's what's happening there. And since I am here, I can go ahead and put some more life into this eye here. There we go. She has wonderful kind of hazel eyes, which I love. Really beautiful. And Steve says, have a hot, steamy pile to get through tomorrow. So he's out too. Take care, Steve. Always great to see you, sir. And a hot, steamy pile, I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound good. That's all I'm saying. Have a great night, sir. And let's just move this over. Okay, so now we can work a little bit more on the eyelashes on camera right, on the eye on camera right. And Dave says that he's in good company. And now we're going to come in with this darker color, the raw umber. And you see I can zoom out so you can see pretty much, what's happening here. Now remember the eye in the light is going to appear darker, but the reason is because there's more contrast. That's it. So in the shadow area, there's less contrast because you don't have the bright lights. The value range is a lot more compressed. And that's what you want to do. You want to have compressed values in the shadows, and in the lighter areas you want to have more contrast. So that's important. Hey, Mr. Bobby, great to see you. How are you, sir? Always great to see you. How's everything going? And now the crease is always important between both eyes. I mean, between the eyelashes and the eyelid crease here. That shape is so important. And this is like raw umber with a little tiny bit of the red there, just to give some life. And we're just going to establish the eyelashes a little bit, nothing crazy. You're in it for the long haul, right? So you're not trying to, solve every problem right now. You're just getting closer. That's all. Okay, and then we'll do some of the darks here. And then maybe we'll come in with the airbrush a little bit and kind of darken things up. I think that would be good. We have this dark right down here, and the shape of the sclera, this negative space, is quite thin right here. The negative shapes are so crucial. And don't put in contrast that isn't there, right? If you don't see a contrast and it kind of loses its edge, so be it, you know? It's important not to get caught up in that. And again, you know, I'm still going to move around a little bit, so I'm going to hit this nostril here. I'm going to do like a dry brush. Just hit this nostril very lightly. There we go. It's too dark right now because everything else around is too light, so that's basically what's happening. And now I have this kind of really nice raw umbery color. I'm going to establish the crease between, and I'm going to go a little bit more red, right? A little bit more red with this. And we're going to dry brush. So here's something to consider. When you're painting the lips, you want to see in this case that the lips, the dark is on the lower lip side, not the upper lip side. If you get that wrong, it'll be a world of hurt. So make sure we don't go overboard. And if there's nothing there, don't put it there, right? If you don't see any contrast over here, don't put it in there. Have the lost and found edges that are there. The painting's going to tell us pretty much all these clues on how to get the emotion and the humanity of the subject. Even though an angel's not a human, you know, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm liking it. I'm pretty happy so far. So what color I'm going to get? I'm going to get a really nice light kind of brownish color. So I'm going to work in that kind of thing. I have my palette here, right? So my oil palette. So I'm going to mix the colors on my oil palette to get the recipes. I like doing that because I've been oil painting a very long time, since I was a little kid, you know. So that's cool. And let's see. Let's come over here. And so I'm going to open up my color mixing program, and we're going to find out what's the color I need to mix. What is that color, the mystery color? Okay, so I have it here. So now I'm going to mix the colors, and then I'll mix it on my palette to make sure that it's exactly what I need. And we're going to get the elements of that color. And right here. All right, so let me go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, and we get the correct color. And just to verify that the color mixture is exactly what I'm looking for. And it's safe to say I can. Now I just have to get the percentage. And I think the percentage is kind of a 50-50 kind of thing. Let me double check. Yeah, I would say so. Okay. Now, let's get our cups. We'll get one of these cups, and we're going to be doing wicked paints. I love wicked paints. Let's see. So this is my yellow orange, and I'm looking for my orange, which is right over, should be over here. Yes, here's my orange. Ow. here. And I'm going to mix this. So this color, these are actually mixed 2 to 1 with 4011 and the Wicked colors. And now I have to find my other element here. Just take one quick moment. Let's see how this goes. And then we're going to find my little palette knife and mix this. And it's pretty close, but I think I need a little more orange. I don't like using the illustration line when doing this kind of mixing technique, because with the illustration line, all the colors, all the pigments are not created equal, right? Some of these pigments are a lot stronger, but I think with the Wicked, you have more of a consistency of pigment strength, I find, which is really nice. I can't see the comments while I'm mixing, so I'll get to you guys and girls. Okay, so this is a nice color, and we're going to get I have to turn on my compressor. So I had some India ink in there, so I'm just going to rush some water through. Now it's funny, it's always a little bit darker when you put the colors on the surface. That's what I find, not lighter. But that happens a lot. Let's see, I'm going to come over here and go back to here. Ah, thank you so much, Gary. Take care. It's great to see you. Or is it Michael's leaving? Who's leaving? Oh, Michael's going to call it a night. Take care, Mike. Great to see you. Glad you're still here, Mr. Gary. And so take care. Good to see you, Mike. And now we'll come in with this here. And it already has a 4011 in the mixtures, so I don't have to go any darker. And let's see what we have. What kind of spray this? Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. At least that's what I'm going to tell you guys. Let's see. Colette says, paint the angel with stencils and line drawing. Very cool, Tim. Okay, so we're going to go back to, actually we're going to work on the left, on the camera right side. Let's do that. So we'll zoom in, and we started on this right side here. And let's see how we can make this happen. Very nice flow in the airbrush, thank goodness. Just kind of give a little life to her beautiful eye here. So compressing the values, so you see the value right there in this little mid-tone I'm doing is very compressed. It's not that far away from the value of the skin, because we don't want crazy contrast. Maybe I have to raise my air pressure a little bit. Just pull this over. Mr. Dwayne Marshall, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out, sharing your expertise, and always supporting the channel. It means the world to me, my friend, as you know. And, you know, it's always amazing to see you on Wednesday nights. Thank you so much, sir. I really, really thank you so much. Kind of makes me feel I'm doing something right when you guys support me. So thank you for that. Here it's a little more orangey, so I'm kind of maybe do some little, this Wicked red oxide kind of seems good over there. And I just want to make sure I'm getting some good detail here. Okay, here we go. There we go. Just get some of that corner of the eye action happening. There we go. And I feel good about that. And Dwayne says, just got back on the phone. Oh, thanks, Dwayne. So it's good to see you. Oh, Astral says, always test the flow first. Definitely. That's a very good advice. So I definitely got to do that more. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I appreciate all your comments. We all have a lot of great advice here. And I'm going to glaze some of that orangey color there. But this is the color I wanted, a very neutral, kind of light mid-tone here. And kind of soften that up. And let's see. What's going on with her Retrobicularis Oculi Fat Pad here? And a little bit darker over here. It's such a compressed value. If I go further away, it's just going to be a lighter mid-tone, which is really great, you know. So that's cool. Testing Yupo, yes, definitely. Having fun with it. How are you doing with Yupo, Mr.? I know, JC, you use it a lot. I'm finding it good, but it's not like my Canson, you know. I'm still very partial to my Canson. It's harder, but it has a different look that I like. But I'm giving Yupo, you know, the once over. And I don't want to do any live stream without thanking God for everything. For the ability to paint, the lights, the place to paint, for the technology to do the live stream, for the great people that I get to see on Wednesdays, the blessings of the friendships I have with you all. So thank you. I thank God for that, definitely. I don't want too much time to go by in my live stream when I don't do that. It is the thought that matters, right? Oh, thank you. That's a perfect color. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do like that neutral color. You know, and that's what we're talking about, you know, in what I was mentioning in my introduction video, if you've seen it, about value compression and how important it is to create that kind of realism that is not photorealism but an otherworldly realism that the 19th century French academic painters were very good at, you know. And Ryan, how's it going? Great to see you. How are you, sir? Ryan is all the way from Canada, so it's so amazing to see you. And thank you. Ryan says it looks good, and thank you so much, JC, for the wonderful encouragements. I appreciate yous. And we're going to zoom out. And you can see just little by little we're kind of, you know, coming together here. I might want to warm this color up just a little bit, but I kind of like the fact that it's kind of dull. You know, it has a low saturation. So it's also the same thing. You can saturate, you can compress value, and you can compress saturation. Oh man, Mr. Dave, thank you so much for the generous super chat, sir. I really appreciate you, and it's great to work with you in the mentorship program. It means so much to me, and you know, your work is really good, and I know we're going to be doing great projects together. And just thank you for your support, your friendship. It means everything to the channel. Thank you, sir. That is so great. You all really humble me by your support and hanging out, and you know, it just, I look forward to you all so much. No matter how big this channel gets one day, you all are going to have a special part, maybe even a special live stream if it gets too big and there's like too many people. There'll be a special live stream just for my regulars at this point, you know. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dave. Dave says thanks for sharing the knowledge, and he said he couldn't let Gary outbid him tonight. That's funny. You guys are great. Gary says don't let him slide. Very cool. So I want to kind of build on some of these soft little value changes, you know, with the shape. So somebody was saying today, they did I think it's the YouTube video. What is that YouTube? Not the, yeah, the Facebook advice from the expert to the beginners, and they did a skull, and they asked how they could improve it. And everyone who knows me is, you know, I'm big on anatomy, and you know, it doesn't matter if you're doing, you know, I understand not everyone wants to do a realistic skull, but if someone's asking how to make it, you know, to understand it is really going to help them to, even if they're doing a skull that isn't anatomically correct, understanding, you know, the general mechanics of a skull will go a long way for them. So that's what I said to them. And like even now, I'm really concentrating on the mechanics of her head and everything, which is really important. JC says he's got to let Dave win this one. That's funny. And JC was the one who said, Gary, don't let him slide. That's funny. That's hilarious. I want her chin to come forward, so I'm going to get a freehand shield as soon as I locate it under the rubble of my studio desk. Let's see. If you were my freehand shield, where would you be? You would be here somewhere. Not here. I have my oil painting brushes here. And there it is. Found it. We are in good shape. You guys are great. Thanks so much. So I want her chin or mandible to come forward. And how I'm going to do that is, of course, pay attention to my reference. But in my reference, I can see that there's more contrast. And where there's more contrast, it appears to be closer to us. So I'm going to put more contrast in her mandible or jawbone here. Just a little bit, not crazy. Okay. And Colette says, Tim, with my stencils. No, your stencils has oil paint on them. I think. I think that's what you mean, Colette. Let's see. Astral is laughing at Dave. And Bobby, not only one, me too, and more than that, just it'll be airbrushing, dry brushing, need to get back, but no time, and when he has time, he's too tired. I hear that, definitely. All right, now, maybe just darken this a little bit, this corner of the eye. I'm going to use this value. There's a lot of flesh color in the sclera, right? So I do have this kind of mid-tone, and to darken the white of the eye, I'm going to use this mid-tone here. Okay. And now we can come back in, but I'm going to be right back, guys and ladies. Please talk to among yourself. I'm just going to use the facilities, and I will be right back, and you'll see this little message. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Thank you so much for waiting. I appreciate that. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Someone says, hey, Patrick, where are you? Oh, Cheese Grits and NyQuil, how's it going? How's everything? And so what my drink of choice are these little things from Aldi, these little low-calorie lemonade. That's what I'm drinking right now. I'm going to shake that up. That is really good. And let's see. Get these waters out of the way. So I did promise tonight I would go over how to lighten colors up. And so what I want to do is I want to lighten up her tracheal area that's in between the two sternocleidomastoids right here. So I want that lighter, and also I want this part of the sternocleidomastoid here, right? So now we're going to go over my technique and what I do for that. And what you really have to worry about, right, is you really have to worry about blue shift. It's very scary, and it's always going to be scary no matter what you do. But I'm going to stick with my wicked colors as much as possible today, right? I want to do more wicked now. So I'm going to get my white, my wicked white. I'll be right over here. Let's see. There we go. We got some really good wicked white here. And so this is detail flat opaque white, which is good. It's going to help us even better. Maybe not. Let me see if I have a transparent white. Because I don't want a total opaque white, honestly. But it appears that's the only white I have. Here's wicked white, but not much left. Let's see down here. Put this over here. Lots of opaque whites. Detail opaque. I'm going to go with the wicked opaque as opposed to the detail. Let's see. Let's see. So we'll go take this and we'll get another cup. And I'm going to make my mixture so we don't get a blue shift. Let's see here. I'm going to open up a fresh one, but I think I have one open here. Shake that really well. Get my 4011 out. Pizza, yeah. Pizza's big here in the Jersey, New York area, as everyone knows. But, you know, I love Domino's pizza. I like Papa John's too. I'm not a pizza purist. Some are. This comes out pretty thick. So I'm going to 4011 it. I haven't tried the 4021. What do you all think of the 4021? Those who have used it, let me know. Is it really what they say? Do you feel that it's the bee's knees and all that stuff? And we're going to mix this up really well. Okay, so now this is mixed pretty well, right? And now we're going to use my wicked orange, right? It's already diluted and everything with the 4011. That's why these little bottles are so much better than just coming right out of the tube, right out of the bottle. So I like that better. I can kind of gauge it Just put a couple of drops in here. Might have been too much, but we'll see. That's nice, and so it doesn't have that much orange in there, so it might be good. We'll check. Okay, now I have this here, this brush here that was filled with water. We'll dump that. This should be good. Famous last words, right? But let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this. Okay. We're going to test this out on a test paper, of course. Nice flow. So I want to put it in a place that's kind of inconspicuous, like maybe over here, because it's maybe right here. We'll just see how this works. It's looking okay, but I think it could be a little warmer. So with that said, I'm just going to break one of my rules and put a drop in here and see if this gets us to where we want to go. So I put a drop in the airbrush, which is breaking my rules. You know, rules are meant to be broken. Well, most of them. Some don't, you don't want to break them, but art rules. Dwayne says the only reason he's been using the new 421 is that the shelf life after thinning, the tip dry is better, but you automatically do the tip clean every step by habit, so it doesn't really, yes, exactly, you're like me, you're always picking at the needle, right? That's what I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this again and see if I'm getting less of a baby aspirin color and more of a white. Let's see, I think we'll be okay. Let's come over here. I want to make sure that I get this right. There's a lot of orange already in her skin tone, right? Uh-oh. Hey everybody, you still see them? You see me? Everything went kind of weird. It kind of like blacked out for a second. But can you guys still see me and everything? I hope. So everyone just say, okay, cool. So you see me, Dave? All of a sudden everything went really dark. It was very scary. But if you guys can hear me, let me know. Oh, good. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. Astral says he uses a small wet sponge in a plastic cup and dab the needle. That's a good technique, definitely. You damaged too many needles in the past, definitely. Yeah, that was weird, guys. Thanks, Patrick. All of a sudden, everything went black, and they said there was a problem with the stream, and then it came back. So that's cool. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to get my glasses on here. I'm going to use my freehand shield. And I want to lighten, because remember we want that contrast, right? That contrast is going to bring her mandible closer. See how we're just lightening that area right there, just a little tiny bit. There we go. So I think that that did really well. I'm going to come in and darken that around there, so that's good. And just bring this, lighten this sternocleidomastoid a little bit right there. Her trapezius muscle is, it's like it's called trapezius because it's a trapezoid. It's a square, but right here is kind of like a cylinder at this this part. So I'm going to make sure I make this turn. See how I'm making that look more round, which is very important. Very cool. And now I have this orange mixture. I'm going to compress these values a little bit, kind of get rid of any contrast that I don't feel is necessary to create more of a unified look. Like right here, a Depressa Angeli Oris. Gary says, gotta run. Glad he made Dave's night by by giving a bigger super chat. That's funny. And I'm reaping all the benefits, guys. So thanks so much, Gary. Great to see you. I hope you have a great weekend coming up. And thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And that rhymes. See how I'm bringing her chin further, and that's important. So I already came through with 2 promises of the live stream. We worked on some paintbrush techniques. We worked on the blue shift using white and how to use white. And then the third is compression of the values. So pretty good. So I covered everything that I promised today in my introduction video. I think a live stream should have an agenda of, you know, what you're going to expect, you know, what the artist is going to teach you. Just compressing these values. And it's important to do that because even though it's not exactly what you're seeing, you're not painting what you're seeing all the time. Sometimes, you know, it's a whole thing what people say, you paint what you know or you paint what you see. And I was always taught that you paint what you know. No, you paint what you see. But then other teachers will say, no, you paint what you know. And then I think it's a combination of painting what you see and also painting what you know. So anatomy, what makes a good painting, those are things that, if done correctly, may be outside of slavishly copying the model. So think about that, everybody. Okay. All right. So now we can come in closer and see what kind of paintbrush techniques we can do with this orange mixture in her eyes. You never know, right? And let's see. She's turning blue. No, not yet, thank God. But I appreciate it. That's funny. Definitely. Yeah, that blue shift, you have to worry, right? It's an insidious enemy. So even though this is in shadow, there is a slight turning of form that's in this retrorbicularis oculi fat compartment between the crease of the eyelid and the eyebrow. Now I can always glaze color over this to warm it up if I need to, if I want to, which is good. But I also know about the supraorbital eminence here, so notice that I'm hitting that. So it's not just painting what I see, but also incorporating what I know about anatomy. Same thing right here. We have the malar fat compartment coming down here. So I have to make sure that I hit that. And we'll zoom out a little bit. There we go. And maybe compress this a little bit. Lighten this area up. Right over here. Just kind of compress it. Just make her, you know, a little more harmonious, you know, to herself, which is very important. She's holding her breath. I hope not, sir. Let's see. And we'll bring this over, like right here. And let's pull this down. See how I'm hitting that malar fat compartment right there, which is very important. You don't want to be like someone who is using shields all the time. You know, you want to use your freehand shield as getting an edge guide, but you don't want it to be like, you know, not doing anything without using a freehand shield. That would look terrible. And not using any freehand shields would look terrible too. So it's kind of like skirting that, you know, tightrope, right? And so that's important. So Patrick is cracking me up over here. When you're working in a certain area, unless you're working with texture, try not to vary your definitely try not to vary your distances. It's very important. If you do, you're going to get, you know, texture you don't want. Right here, the orbicularis oris here, it's a little bit lighter. So I'm going to make sure that I hit this on the light side of her face. It's so important to know what you're painting. It's actually crucial to know what you're painting. It's going to give you insight that's going to help you to create a painting that is more natural. So a little harsh here, but nothing we can't fix. Oh wow, it could have been a solar spike. That's interesting, right, Astral? That was weird. There we go. So you see how I'm working on that philtrum. So Mr. Astral, how's your son doing in Japan? Last I heard he was fixing up his apartment, is that correct? Okay, so now I'm going to come back in with this really interesting kind of warm, desaturated mid-tone here. And we're just going to shape this a little bit more, especially here. I can always go darker. I'm just basically sculpting now. With a mid-tone, I'm going to go darker, but it's good to sculpt, right? That's important. Same thing over here. And we can always go back in with the hair, so I'm not worried about that. You know, there's a time and place for everything. So it's a little bit darker here, darker there, and lighter there. So you see how it kind of, you have to kind of follow what's happening here. I'm going to shape this space between the trapezius and the sternocleidomastoid over here. Then we have our clavicle here. Okay. I definitely see that this wing here, you know, the under part of her wing is, it could use a little desaturation. So we're going to be working on that a little bit, probably just an extra layer. And Astral says he hasn't been well lately. He had a kidney infection and spread to his liver. The docs didn't give him enough antibiotics. Oh man, so sorry he wasn't feeling well, but he's doing better. I'm glad I asked. Thank God he's okay, you know. That's for sure. And so there's a little bit of hair coming down here, and I want to do it with the airbrush, I think. You know, it's great with the paintbrush and all, but you don't want to do too much of it. And you don't want to do too much of airbrushing either, right? You want to find that happy middle ground. So you see how I'm kind of bringing this dark shadow of the hair, and then I can always go darker, right? See how I'm bringing that? And it's also, it's giving her shoulder more form, right? Remember, the shape, the adjacent shape often describes the shape more than the shape itself. Now this is a very transparent color, so you see I have to hit it a couple times for it to actually show up. So paint all the time, everybody. And the more you paint, the more you're going to know what it's going to do, everything like that. Hey, Nameless, how you doing? Thank you so much, my friend. How have you been? So how's everything? Are you still working a lot of hours? Man, that is so great to see you. So Nameless, if anyone doesn't know, has been, you know, a friend of the channel for several years. And I think he was just busy with work, so no one's seen him in a while, but that's great. Oh, good. And always working hard. Yeah, that's not easy. Okay, I'm going to put this here on her face. I want to kind of separate the trapezius from her face, so I'm just going to put some dark value here. See how I'm just going to darken that edge a little bit. There we go. And now we have her chin here. See how much lighter this is. So I'm going to start by kind of darkening the adjacent neck area. It's all about bringing things forward, right? That's so important. Okay, so now let's see if we can do a little more paintbrush techniques with her eyes here, just to you know, get the ball rolling a little bit, you know, kind of do kind of half and half action. So we're going to zoom in on her eye on camera left, and what I want to do is, let's see, I want to get like a mid-tone for little speckles in her iris here. And the good thing is that this stuff dries pretty quickly, you know. And Astral says his son is a coeliac sufferer, so when he goes to restaurants, they don't always tell the truth about what they put in the food. Oh my God. And Nameless says he's moved over to Twitch, and that's where he spends most of his free time watching videos. It's more friendly to him. For some reason, he's been getting shadow banned on YouTube. Oh man, so sorry to hear that. But I'm glad to see you, that's for sure. Just going to put a little speckle here. And we'll do the same with the other eye. And when that dries, I'll do a speckle of a little lighter color. Let's see here. And we can get a little bit of a light gray value here. Whoa, you like it when it kind of explodes when you open it up? That's what happened here. Oh, thank you, Colette. I appreciate that. Oh, celiac. I heard of that. Yes. How's he doing with that? Does it really affects his, what he can eat? I'm so sorry to hear that. And Colette says, look at her eyes. Thank you, Colette. I appreciate you. And I'm just going to take this light. We're going to come in here. Zoom in. I'm going to dry brush this. And try and hit this light here. And I'll build it up. And you got time to, make this happen. So there's no rush. You just take your time. We'll move on over to the other eye. Just zoom out. You see the light is kind of glaring here. There you go. So you don't see so much glare now. And if we zoom out, hopefully, yeah, we're catching a little glare, but that's okay. Let's move on over to the other eye, shall we? And let's try and hit that highlight a little bit. Now the highlight is there's a kind of a neutral gray, right? So that's important. And not to go for the full highlight. Save your highlights, the brightest brights, for later. And that's another reason of condensing, or make sure you're compressing those values, because you really have to work to make the forms turn. And then when you come in with your dark and light accent, it really explodes with power and three-dimensionality. And he can't eat wheats and has to go on a special diet. Oh man. Nameless says this lesson might come in handy for him. He's currently working on a religious theme. Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Biggest one yet. Glad to hear it. And Astral says that's looking great. Thanks, Astral. I appreciate that so much. And I'm just going really slow, everybody, taking my time. And looking at the negative space of those eyes, right? And now I have this gray. So pay attention to what you see. Notice that her upper eyelid is really gray, right, in the picture. So when you see it gray, you paint it gray, you know? But always, you know, look at the anatomy. The anatomy's not going to change. So I'm going to hit this gray here. And then it gets darker gray as it turns. So we'll worry about the darker gray. Right now we'll just hit the light gray. And don't forget the dry brush technique's really important. And Nameless says, check out Tim's stencils and line drawing tonight. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Colette. Colette, you rock. Let's see. And go here. Okay, we're in good shape now. I'm just going to hit this gray, and then there's a light gray all the way to the corner of her eye, right there. And then bring that down. So I wouldn't see it as gray. You know, what I know, I would say it's not gray, but it is that in the image. So I'm going to reproduce what I see, and then I can make a decision and say, well, that doesn't work for whatever reason. And then we're going to hit that highlight. She's so pretty. And just really refrain from going too crazy with detail so soon. I handle airbrush a little bit differently than handling, because you know you're not just dealing with just regular paint, you're dealing with airbrush paint, and you know, you have to hit a larger area. You can't hit a little small area and keep doing that. It's not as cost effective time wise, and there's too much room for error doing it that way, I feel. And oh, Astrals, that's great. And Nameless says, oh, okay, cool. Thanks, that's cool. Now, the gray in her eyelids has to be darker on the shadow side because there's no light. Unless you have a camera, you know, a photographer who's using, you know, a reflector, or maybe a fill flash or something like that. But if they're a good photographer, they're not going to create weirdness, so they definitely will have the lights in the shadow area, you know, darker than the lights in the light area. That makes sense. Okay, so that's about all I'm going to do there, except there's this little dark I just put on the sclera here. Let's fix that. There we go. So I think that's as far as I want to go with her eyes right now, and I think that looks pretty interesting, which is okay. Interesting is good. Now let's see what we can work on a little bit more. So we have a few minutes, and maybe we can kind of deepen this color of her wing. And so to do that, I'm probably just going to have to wait for it to dry just a little bit. So while it's drying, I could kind of put some of these brushes aside. But I'm happy with today's progress, you know. Well, albeit slow, it doesn't matter. As long as you're going in the right direction, it doesn't matter the speed. Yeah, my red grass, it's stinky, you know, so I'm going to probably get another one. It's like a mildew problem. I think it's a problem with the whole design of it. Okay. Put these brushes aside, and then, you know, that's giving everything a little bit chance to dry, because I'm going to have to cover this with the stencils. I'm going to work on the shadow plane of this wing here. Okay, now, so this is my goal. So I'm going to look and see if I have what I need to cover this here. I don't think I do. Look at that, I think I do. So that's good. So I can cover everything except for her wing. So I'm not going to get any of that color anywhere else, which is good. Okay, now we'll close this with the magnet here. So this is a little yellow, right? So I want to calm it down. And I'm going to do another, you know, assessment with the Gideon color theory to kind of, you know, hone in on that color. Uh-oh, there's a dark here. I hope that's not going on my painting. Let's see. Right there on the face. Okay, see, you got to be careful. There's a little dark something there, so you don't want that to happen. So that was good. So that was disaster averted. Let's see. So this Saturday, approximately 3 o'clock, I'm going to do part 2 of Emma Watson. So that's going to be a recorded video, everybody. So definitely check that out. And it's just it's a painting of Emma Watson from beginning to end. It's probably going to be like a 5-part series. And I'm going to have the parts every Saturday. Probably at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Eastern Time. So the UK people, it won't be too late for you. And my Australian friends. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Wicked paints, and we're going to figure out what's the best color for that, for this part of the wing, right? It's a little yellow, so we have to desaturate, right? We want to desaturate this, which is very, very important. Let's see. I'm going to go to my program, and let's check this out. Alright, so I see the colors I have to use. We'll come over here. So that's our target color. And our color. So I do see the Wicked color that I pre-mixed. And now the final ingredient. Okay, and then I'm going to look at the percentage. Okay, so let me go ahead and make this happen here. And let's see, so we have different elements here. And the great thing about the Gideon method is that it is actually very simple. It actually gets the colors within 2, at most 3 colors. So I don't know if I want to go with this yellow or I want to go with a little more of a orange yellow. But let's see. Yeah, so I have a choice between these two. I'm actually going to do a combination of these two. Because sometimes the hue on the color wheel is a little bit right in the middle. So we'll shake this up. See, here I have a yellow orange, and you can see how a yellow orange is different than a regular orange. So I take my Wicked colors and I pre-mix them to match the color wheel. Whoop. There we go. Let's see what we got, what we have. And when I'm mixing, I can't see your questions. That's a little strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a second cup. And I'm just going to do a less saturated version of this. We'll see how this goes. That's very close to what we want down here. And then we're going to do one where it's a bit lighter. So I'm going to do a third cup. We're going to work this down. Bear with me, everybody. We're almost there to start painting. Because I kind of want the 3 values. Now I already have all my paints thinned out, so I don't really have to do too much 4011, right? And let's put a little bit in here. See what we have. Okay, so it's a little on the green side, but let me double check my colors here. And I think it is on the green side anyway. Okay, now let's go ahead and take this lighter color. I'm just going to hit it with a little more orange. Yellow orange. Just to give it a little more life. Yes, so I'm happy now. See that? And let's go ahead and spray that. And we'll take out this color here. That gray that we've been using. Okay. Like I said, I do apologize. When I'm color mixing, I can't see the screen. But I know there's great conversation happening out there. Okay. Now, and we're going to go ahead and do a test here, right? See what we have here. Very happy with that. So it's definitely a lot less saturated than what I had before. Put some magnets right up to the edge. Okay. right on the edge. We don't want underspray. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take my orange and white mixture and we're going to test it out because we don't know. That orange and white mixture could really help us here. Let's see. Let's just dry this a little bit. It dries super fast, right? It is doing what I want it to do. So here's where the white mixture also comes into play. Because it's much lighter on the top of the wing and then it gets darker as it goes deeper into the wing because less light can get in there, you know? Okay. Give this a chance to dry a little bit. And then we're going to come back in with this golden yellow color. Kind of gives some life to this shadow down here. Much more sense of light in the shadows, and then we can come darker yet again. So let's take a look. Here I can probably go a little bit lighter on the edge here. Kind of hit this. And then I can, you know, give this a chance to dry, of course. Okay. Just really pay attention to what the light is doing inside this wing here. Alright, so I think we're okay. We can lift this to see what's happening. And we may stop here because then, you know, it's going to go well over if we try to attempt anything else. But that wing looks a lot better. It has a lot more life to it. And what I can do before I go is we have this color here. And I have a deeper kind of color here. And we can see if we can kind of incorporate that. So let's go back to our comments, see what I missed, if I missed anything. Where are we? Oh, there we go. And let's see. And Astral says he's out most of the time on the weekend and got to get some fresh air sometimes, definitely. Colette says, Nameless, there is a link right under the video Tim's presenting. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yes, in the description field, guys, which is fun. And thanks, Colette. And that's cool. And, oh, the Dua Lipa. That was fun. Yes, it was. I enjoyed painting Dua Lipa. What a beautiful woman. She's Albanian, which is cool. I had quite a number of Albanian friends in my day. So we had a darker color here. So I'm going to add this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a touch of the raw umber. And I know that Mr. Dwayne loves the raw umber. So we're going to put a little doodad of raw umber here. Just one drop. And I think I'm going to add a little 4050 here. Nope, 4011. Okay. And where's my 4011? We got this big old bottle of 4011 here, but that would work. There we go. I don't like mixing in the bottle, as everyone knows, but we're kind of in a time constraint right now. Whoa. Okay. Let's make this happen. See how this goes. Slightly darker, but it has a nice saturation, which I love, right? So we're not just going darker, we're increasing saturation in the shadow. And I'm going to bring back the dark of the hair along her shoulder. I'm going to use this color in some of the shadow of the individual feathers. And of course we're going to kill that saturation a little bit. So let's do this before I go. I'm going to dump this out and I'm going to come in with detailed color. We got a lot done today, I think. Next week we're going to work on her lips, which is going to be fun. And let's see. So now what I want to do is find that nice kind of soft shadowing color here. Let's see if I can find it. It wasn't raw umber, there was another color. And let's see if I can locate this. I'll check my drawer over here. Let's see. Sepia, detail sepia, that's the ticket. That's the one. Everyone knows I do like a good detail sepia every now and then. And we also have detail smoke black, but I want a little bit of life into it, so I'm going to get this detail sepia. I don't think I have it open. Oh, yeah, I have it open, but I'm going to have to open a new one. Oh, well. Let me go ahead and open this. And let's shake this up. Detail sepia 0070. Oh, yeah, Dwayne, you do love detail sepia. That's the one. Thanks so much, Colette. You have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, you do whole paintings in detail sepia. That is great. Brad says, great feed. Thanks. Great to see you, sir. Have a great night. Okay. New cup. And we are going to definitely 4011 this stuff. I'm going to put a little 4050 in here because it's a fresh bottle. I really wanted to have it, wanted to adhere. So I have some 4050 here, guys. Just a couple of drops. Wow, a bunch in sepia ink. Oh, that's great. Oh, with the set, yes. How did you like that set, sir? Just a drop or two here. Nothing. But as you know, I do love the Wicked line a little better than the illustration line. As you know, I've done many months just using the Wicked line, then I started using the illustration. So right now I'm really into the illustration, the Wicked line. And, oh, it's great. Thanks, Dwayne. I appreciate that, sir. So now this is clean. We're going to put some of this in here. Yeah, I love sepia too. It's fun to work with. It builds up nicely, right? And I'm going to put this back on because I don't want to. I'm going to pretty much get a little strong with this. Let's make this happen. So I gave it some time to dry, right? That's important. Put this right on the edge. All right, here goes sepia. Now, I'm going to pay attention to what I'm painting. Yeah, so it is giving it a nice little bit of a shadow here. And as Dwayne knows, the flow is just so amazing with this Wicked sepia. There we go. Nothing too much, just coming in here and maybe establishing his hair again with the sepia. Just a little bit right there. Get that edge. And that's going to be it for today, everybody. I really appreciate you hanging out. Thank you so much for all your wonderful comments and spending your Wednesday evening with me. And that's where we are right now. It might seem like not much happened, but it's all cumulative, right? I got a little bit of white paint on that, but that's going to be fixed easily. And so that's where we are. And hopefully, we'll go further. I don't want to do anything outside the live stream, so it's okay if I go several weeks with this because I want you all to be there during, right? So, yes, definitely recommend sepia. That is so great. Yes, because you can go super light brown to almost black. That is so great. Air Todd, great to see you. Have a great night. Dwayne, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Mr. David. I appreciate that with the super chats. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for just your friendship and everything. So, Dwayne, thank you for your super chat. And so it was Dwayne and Dave and Mr. Gary. You guys are fantastic. If I missed anybody, I am so sorry. It's 11:30 at night, but I hope you all have a great night. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to talk to you during the week. Bye, guys.